Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. Delighted to have your company. It's the 9th of September. Alan Rough, Darren Jackson, Tam McManus, all here. Darren and Alan came here of their own volition. Tam checked with his wife and said it was okay to be with us for an hour, so that's absolutely fantastic, by the way. That's great that he's managed to get the all clear. You know, if you can't stay in a staff party because you've got to go to a housewarming, we're delighted to have you with us, Tam. I'm only kidding you. Anyway, apart from anything else, lots to talk about. Tam, we haven't had your thoughts on Scotland. I haven't had a chance to chat to you about it. What did you make of
it? Great result, Peter. Listening to results, obviously, what matters. 1-0, but 2-1. Sorry, but poor performance. I mean, again, we're all over the place at the back. David Marshall's a few good saves. We get lucky a couple of times against a Czech Republic team that was scrambled together over the course of a week. So, listening to the result was all that matters, but our performances have got to be better. If we've got any kind of chance of beating even Israel the next month, never mind Norway, you've seen what they've done to Northern Ireland, or Serbia away, then we've got to have better performances all round, because we got fortunate the other night, no doubt about it. But a win's a win, top of the group, 5 games unbeaten, so Steve Clark will be taking the positives. But I think most people, most Scotland supporters were watching that through the palms of their hands. It was a poor performance, and we managed to scrape a win.
Absolutely. Hi to Jerry McMahon, John Watt as well, Una Brennan, always good to get you on. Una, Stuart Rankin, Kathleen Madden. I don't think I've read your name out before, Kathleen. I might be wrong, but great that you're with us. Robert Monroe, hi to Brian Darby, Tony Holton Senior, so many. Nicky Twiggs as well, always trying to get on as early as possible. And there's a name that I haven't mentioned in a while, Elizabeth Triantafilou. Afternoon, guys, she says, and we're delighted, Elizabeth, that you could join us. There's so many people across YouTube and Facebook joining us. Like, share and follow and subscribe to our channel. Lots to talk about. Neil Doncaster is saying there's so much at stake with 300 fans going to be allowed into not only Ross County against Celtic but Aberdeen against Kilmarnock. Now, 300 fans is one thing. Let's have a look at the protocol that's been handed out to the Aberdeen fans. You've got to remain in your seat. Standing is strictly prohibited. Always wear your face covering your nose and mouth. Always wear your face mask, that is. Adhere to 2 metre distancing if leaving your seat. Avoid face-to-face contact with other spectators. Do not throw the match ball onto the pitch if it enters the stand. Catch any coughs or sneezes in a tissue and sanitise your hands. Chanting, shouting and singing are to be avoided. Priority on stairwells will be given to people ascending. So with that in mind, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can think of a good hour and a half's material in that alone, because obviously we're all thinking to ourselves, wow, let's hope Aberdeen have 300 mitres available so that they don't need to go and search for the high ball that's been launched into the stand every 2 minutes. And of course, Roughie, no need to worry about the singing or the chanting, because that very rarely happens up there anyway, does it?
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we?
You bottled it there, didn't you, big man?
No.
He must have a few gigs up there.
Yeah, you've got a gig up in Aberdeen.
No, it'll be next year. Not be this year. But no, it's got to start somewhere. And I do hope the fans behave themselves. I mean, you would think 300 would be able to, get through 90 minutes of football without causing any problems. And let's hope that's the case. I mean, we saw the way they did it at Murrayfield with the rugby. They just, I think they tied up the seats with, sort of, so they couldn't sit together and all that stuff. So I cannot, in my life, in me think 300 people are going to spoil it for everybody.
Yeah, geez, if they were tying people to their seats, Roughie, I'm amazed you didn't apply to get a ticket for rugby as well. I mean, that's right up your street, to be honest with you. Anyway.
They want a blindfold as well.
Yeah, absolutely, just for the rugby. Anyway, to be perfectly honest with you, my mate Ian's a big Aberdeen fan, so he knows I'm only joking. Eddie Thompson says, Peter, they're not getting in. Trust me, it's getting binned. Eddie, I'm not going to argue with you, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to argue with Eddie on this one, Darren. It's because, quite simply, Nicola Sturgeon has said, from September 14th, even that's not assured these test matches. And I think as we go hour by hour now, because of the way this curve seems to be heading back towards what it was in May, I think every hour it changes. We could be in a situation where there's no test games where fans are getting in.
Yes, I think you're right, Peter. That's the biggest worry, that it is sneaking back in, and especially the clubs probably have spent so much money on trying to get this up and running, Peter, with blanking all the seats off, as you say, coming in, sanitise, probably stewards, making sure that they're going the right way up the stairs and everything. So they'll have spent a fair bit of money, but we just hope and pray that it can settle down a bit and we can get 300 fans back in. I have no doubt, I'm sure they will behave themselves, because I'm sure those fans want to go back, because I think it's pro rata that you can't go back to another game. So they're fans who are desperate to go to games, so I can't see them spoiling it for anybody else, because they'll want to go back to a game soon as well. So, as I say, it's going to be touch and go, but we can only keep our fingers crossed that we can get this at the weekend.
Yeah, I must admit, I have my doubts as we go hour by hour. But listen, if they're in and they follow all the rules, then all well and good. Hi to George Jaffrey, who says, "Hi guys, great show. Not been on due to illness for 4 weeks, but I'm fighting fit now." And that, George, is absolutely magnificent to hear. Good to know that you're back to full fitness. We always like people to be fighting fit, watching the show. And I'd like to say hi to Michael and, of course, May. They are in Northampton. They follow the show religiously every day when they can. They only miss the odd one or two. So it gives you an indication of the football family we've got here. Thank you for the figures on the programme as well, because people are absolutely steaming into it and enjoying it, enjoying the crack. And even Tam still wearing his Maradona shop T-shirt there. Well done to you, Tam.
I'm never get it off now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's obviously down to the area you're living in, and I'm not going to do that gag. Never mind. Anyway, and apart from anything else, good to see you with it on, Tam.
Peter, can you see Mark McGee wearing that T-shirt?
No, I don't. Well, by the way, he took pelters for that, didn't he? They were absolutely caning him. I mean, Mark McGee said he wouldn't have Tam Maradona in his World 11 because he didn't like him as a person. And I thought to myself,
I seen it yesterday.
What a line that was. And by the way, on the social media afterwards, they were battering him for it.
He wasn't too happy with Platini either.
No.
It's unbelievable. I mean, as you see, surely you've just got to judge him as a player. You can't say, I don't like him as a guy, I'm not putting him in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, as I said, Roughie, if we actually, exclude players in our World 11 because of the type of person they are, you'd be struggling to pick a World 11, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you certainly would. Just particularly some of the ones that we picked. I think I've all got a wee bit of history here or there. But no, I think we should stick to the football, and if they've done it away for the football, then so be it.
Yeah, Ronnie Porter says, Roughie, you'll know all about this. Ronnie Porter just said, "Hi, Peter, I just turned an OAP today," which is magnificent, because I think there's a generation now, Roughie, who don't really act as if they are an old age pensioner. It's all about your frame of mind, Roughie. Is that fair when I think about you?
Yeah, I would say as long as you're active, as long as you're taking part in as much sport as you can, and you get a daily supply for the chemist, and I'm sure you'll be quite happy.
As long as you can get up in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to tell you, the key word there, Ronnie, is as long as you're active. It's as simple as that. Get out there. Anyway, there's lots of points that I want to get your thoughts on, guys. I noticed an interview on Rangers TV. Stephen Gerrard said he doesn't really think that James Tavernier will be given any credit as a captain of Rangers until he wins something. And Darren, I think that's, it's obviously stating the obvious on this one. And I think not only James Tavernier, I think the manager falls into that category as well.
Of course, because he's been a winner, Peter. But Tavernier, I think you're 100% right. I think he's been a great player for Rangers. We spoke about stats yesterday, and you look at his stats, I think he's scored something like 50 odd goals and 48 assists or something like that. And it's incredible. His crossing abilities, set plays, are exceptional. But Peter, you play for a club like Rangers, you play for a club like Celtic, you need to win trophies. And that, yes, because they've not won a few over the last few years, a cup would be great. But at the clubs like that, you need leagues. And I don't think you would go down as a great if you walk away and you've not won a league, or, well, especially a cup as well.
Yeah, it's a strange one, actually. I'm not sure even he would get down because, and I'm not being in any way disparaging towards what he's achieved so far as a player, playing regularly. This will be his 250th game for Rangers. No mean feat against Dundee United, but because of the quality, Tam, and standard of Rangers player that's gone before, and where they were in Scottish football and what they achieved and won, I don't think, I think he's way, way down that list, of great captains, great players. I mean, Darren was quite complimentary to him there, but he doesn't rank in any kind of a top 50 list for me.
I agree with Darren. I think he's a really good footballer. He's a good player. His set pieces, as Darren mentioned, is superb. He's penalty kicks and free kicks. He's scored a lot of goals. But you look at the captains I've had in the past. Your Terry Butchers, your Barry Fergusons, guys like that. Souness. They've all been really successful and they've won trophies and won leagues, and they'll go down in the history books as great Rangers captains. And I don't think that Tavernier will. I mean, there's still Rangers supporters now questioning why he's the captain. There's a lot of people who would prefer to see maybe Ryan Jack as the captain, maybe more leadership. But Tavernier's been a great servant for Rangers. But if he leaves Rangers, and he hasn't won anything, then he'll be instantly forgettable, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as players coming back for Rangers this weekend, it's a good game to look forward to because Itten and Defoe look as if they're nearing full fitness and will be available, which is a huge bonus, Roughie, for Rangers, because I just think every game now is back to that point where we actually think, what are they doing? What are they doing? Who's going to slip up? Who's going to blink first?
Yeah, well, I think at this moment in time, you have to say that Rangers are the form side. Haven't lost any goals. They're playing some good football. Minus, as you said, 2 or 3 big players there, so they'll feel confident in it in that game. I think Dundee United, I don't think they'll recover for that hammering they got at Kilmarnock. So it's going to be a good game. It's another mark for Dundee United where they are and what they've got to live up to, coming out of the Championship.
Yeah, Christopher Gunn says, Peter, I think I'm related to you in some way. If you're from the Lanarkshire area, as you know, Tam, we're all related in some way in this area. So it's not any now steady you. It's not any great claim, Christopher, but I'm delighted that you've joined us on the programme. Look at Roughie with his serious face today, by the way. I think are you all right today, Roughie?
No, I'm recovering. I'm getting there. The wee head cold, but no, I'm shrugging it. I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that, by the way. I didn't know that, and you didn't tell me that. I would have socially distanced from you last night at the tennis, although I'm never usually too near you on the tennis court because I'm doing the running, Anyway.
He did enough coughing yesterday, Peter.
Yeah, I was...
Mark's known today.
Yeah, I was worried about him, by the way. And by the way, hopefully, fingers crossed as well, Charlie will be 100% for Friday as well. Kevin McSorley says, Peter, do you think Edouard will leave before the transfer window closes? And what price would you say Celtic will be demanding for him? Well, I don't know about you guys, but some of the prices for players at the moment is just ridiculous, Darren. I mean... Ollie Watkins, 28 million from Brentford. I mean,
the add-ons go to 33.
Well, the English market is the most overpriced. It's ridiculous the amount of money that they waste. The imbalance is unbelievable. It's not just for Scotland. The imbalance is right across Europe because the other clubs suffer from what I would call, on many occasions, the gross stupidity of some of the clubs who pay the sort of money that we're asking. If he's worth 28 million, Morelos must be worth double that, and you could double it again for Edouard, Darren.
I think so, 100%, Peter. They said he's never obviously had a cap. He's never played in the Premiership in England, and he's 28 million. You're 100% right. Prices are ridiculous, and you're right about Morelos. And you're right about Edouard. you'd need to be looking for, now whether they get it or not, but you'd need to be looking at 40 million for him. I mean, because he is a boy who has got an unbelievable future ahead of him. He's an internationalist. He scored goals at under 21 level, and I know people judge him on full level, full caps, but he's definitely a star in the making. And as you said about, we're not just talking about him, Morelos. When you talk about a boy who can score goals at a club where demands are massive, and he has scored goals. So the price is up here because they play up here. You think, nah, we're not going to get the price for that. But I think Celtic and Rangers should hold out when you see that price today.
Well, unless it's insane, I'm going to answer Kevin's question here, and then I'm going to look at Tam and see if he agrees with me. Kevin, in answer to your question, if Celtic pull a stroke like they usually do over the last few years, where they sell somebody and then the window closes the next day or within hours and they don't replace them, I can tell you all hell will let loose. There can be no strokes with Odsonne Edouard, either a sale whenever it comes. If it comes in this window and it's on the last day and the last hour and Celtic bank the money, you would be as well actually shutting up shop, because the Celtic fans will go absolutely crazy,
Peter,
Tam.
do you think Celtic would take 40 million this window?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. But Peter,
that can't be allowed. I mean, at the end of the day, if they sell this boy and they don't have, and I actually don't even, I don't even think the fans would tolerate, by the way, we've brought in a replacement. I think they'll be looking and saying, you sell him, suffer the wrath if this all goes pear-shaped. That's how big this call is.
I think that if the boy says he's wanting to go and a bid comes in and he causes hassle and he wants to go, well, they'll need to sell him.
Like Dembele?
I think they'll look at Ayer and Cham, Rogic. Can we get money in for them to make up the money we've maybe lost from the Champions League, and we keep Edouard for another season?
Well, let me tell you, I think the answer to the question is, do I think they'll sell him? No, is the answer, Kevin. And I also trying to give somebody, I just missed something there, which was somebody, if they can post it again, about giving somebody a mention for their grandson. I think it might have been his birthday. Sorry about that. I'm trying to mention as many as possible. And I think a lot of people have mentioned here, and I think it's a good point, Roughie, if Tavernier is the captain of the title-winning side for Rangers, he will go down as one of those captains that will be remembered, because in this season of all seasons, absolutely, I call it the season of poison, just basically because it will become. I am not looking forward to December, January, because I think there's an element that will start to become poisonous, and I'm not talking about one side or the other. Either way, whatever way it's going, I think there's an element of people who will start to become vitriolic in their campaign, abusive. The whole thing will become poisonous, and I'm not looking forward to that. I am, however, looking forward to what I think is going to be a fantastic chase, Roughie. The race all the way to the final. If it's nip and tuck, it's going to be brilliant for us.
Yeah, I think we all know what Rangers and Celtic games bring anyway. There is that installed in these games, the hatred for each other, and you can just magnify that by whatever, because this is going to be unbelievable. Rangers try to stop them, and it just as you said there, I mean, every Celtic supporter remembers the team that stopped Rangers getting their record. So that'll be the same for Rangers as well. And it's a long, long time not to win a title. So yeah, you're right. The captain who lifts that trophy at the end of it will always be remembered, as will the team, same as the Celtic boys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those moments, Tam, that I know you like on the programme. I do mention it every now and then, and I will mention it now for the benefit of yourself, Tam. Andy Sharp, and that's probably not his real name, who's on YouTube. Andy, this isn't the show for you. Your head's in the gutter, and you'd be as well firing along to some of those poisonous sites where you can spread your bile. the majority of people on YouTube and Facebook are decent football fans, and they certainly don't listen to the likes of the drivel and bile that you've just posted on the site. So, Andy, if you can go and take a running jump, we'd be all delighted that you could go and watch another show, because this one is about football. We're talking about Rangers and Celtic. We're talking about every club, and we put it across in a positive manner. But the stuff that you've just posted is really what makes a lot of people sick and not go to football. As far as Celtic are concerned, Roughie, Shane Duffy says he hopes to add that wee bit of solidity to the back, and he welcomes the battle with Julian and Ayer for the centre-half positions. Who do you think wins and partners him? Because there's no doubt he's going to play.
Yeah, I think Ayer looks as if he's not working a move out of Celtic, but his agent seems to think that he's got better prospects ahead. So again, Neil's already said there are players, that don't really want to be here. If he's identified whoever it is, then that will be the guy, who he'll replace, because he's not going to suffer fools gladly, particularly in this year. So I think we'll all have to wait till the team selection comes out in that one, and then we'll get an idea of what players really want to be here for the whole haul and which ones don't.
Yeah, and here is, of course, Shane Duffy talking about the competition that he now faces as a Celtic player.
Yeah, really excited to play, learn from them. Two top players, in my opinion, and I've watched them closely because obviously I watch Celtic. So I'm, as I said, really excited. It's up to me to try and push them and try and force my way into the squad. They've got a great relationship together, and it's a tough one. But as I said, I like the competition. I like pushing myself. I like trying to improve other players as well, and hopefully I can learn off them as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's going to play. I think some people are going to be surprised, Tam, that he can actually play a bit as well. I think some people have got this impression he's just coming in and he's going to be heading the ball 50 yards away from the goal.
Yeah, no, he can play. I mean, particularly the Premiership games, if you watch them down south, most of the teams try and play out for the back. It's not just a lump up the pitch. Midfielders come short, they try and get into them, get it out wide. So I've seen him at Brighton. Listen, he's not a Beckenbauer on the ball. He's not going to drive out for the middle of the park and pick passes and thread balls through. But he's competent on the ground. But his main job in the Celtic team will be defending the box. Defending high balls and going attacking the ball. And being solid and try to keep clean sheets. If he can use the ball, great. That's brilliant. But his main job in the Celtic team, the reason he's been brought in is to be a commanding presence, is to be a ball winner, and to be a threat in both boxes. And I think he'll definitely be that. He's 6'4". He's seen his goal for Ireland last week. He's definitely a threat. So I think he'll be a great signing for Celtic. I've said that for a couple of weeks. He's exactly what they've been needing, and I think he'll bring the best out in Julian and Ayer as well, whoever he partners, because winning the ball, being a ball winner and being aggressive is not their strength.
Yeah, who gets the partnership? Do all three play, Darren, in your mind, or is it Duffy and one other?
I think the way they played at the end of the last season, Peter, I think they'll play a three. I think it was a great formation for them, especially getting... Well, you've got two strikers there now anyway, but especially with Edouard and Griffiths last time. I thought they were brilliant, and I think you will play in a three. If one of them go, will El Hamed come in there and play as the centre half? But again, we spoke about yesterday, and Mark spoke about him because Mark is a season ticket holder there, and Tam's right. He is good on the ball. You have to be good on the ball in England because everyone tries to play from the back and all that. But again, he'll not drive into midfield. You'll have Brown coming off. You'll McGregor coming off to take the ball off him. But he's a defender, Peter. I think he's a captain. He's a leader, and he'll demand out the other. And I don't know if Julian probably accept his demands, because I don't think he'll be too short in telling them if they make mistakes. And that's what you need.
Yeah, that is what you need. Who was the main voice, Roughie, when you were playing at international level? In the big games, who was the guy who wouldn't suffer fools gladly?
Oh, it'd be Souness. If you got a stare off Souness, then you knew things weren't going particularly right. He was a winner right from the start to the end, and he had that captain stare. That get your finger out, you're not doing it right or whatever, and that's what it's all about. It's getting respect be somebody who's done everything in the game, and if you're not doing your best, then he'll let you know about it. But no, Souness for me was a tough one.
Yeah.
We Archie Gamble. We Archie Gamble as well. We Archie didn't suffer fools gladly either.
Yeah, Nippy Sweetie comes to mind at times with Archie. Is that fair? Good player that he was.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tam, who sticks in your mind when you played?
Big Yogi. I think Darren's probably played with Yogi as well. Yogi was a monster. He was my first ever game. I think Darren was playing for Hearts. Was for Hibs against Hearts at Tynecastle. And I can remember Yogi before the game came out and goes, "See if you don't show for the boss. See if you bottle it out here, I'm going to string you up at half time." He says, "You better go out here and show for the ball and don't hide." And Yogi was like that even in training. I hated playing against Yogi in training because he would ragdoll you out the way. The ball would come into your feet and he would just literally just throw you out the way. And he was horrible to play against. But he was a very vocal guy, great leader, and went on and done well for Celtic as well, big Yogi. So I would say Yogi Hughes by a mile was the best captain that I ever played for.
Yeah, Darren, you've got a few to choose from.
I've got a few, Peter. I mean, I don't think you have to say boys that are going to shout and ball. It's the way you look up to them and the respect you had for them. At Newcastle, I had Peter Beardsley, I had McAllister, I had McStay, Collins, a Colin Henry, a Boyd, a McCoist. You know what I mean? They just didn't have to be the captain. They demanded on the pitch. So yes, there was a few McAllister, Henry, and all that. Were Leighton and Gorham demanded out of you as well. So it's not. We're talking about captains, yes, but it's players on the pitch that keep demanding out of you, and that's what raises the standard.
Yeah, because you've named about 400 captains there, Dan.
400 clubs.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Dixie had mentioned there, he wish you could have the Souness these days. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, Roughie. You know what I was like. I was a big Liverpool fan. I just thought there was an arrogance about Graham, but it wasn't. I'm not so sure it was a bad arrogance. I mean, he could cement a few people, but I just loved him in the midfield for Liverpool. I thought he was absolutely sensational. And of course, you don't go to Italy and play at that level if you can't put it about and play as well.
No, he had all the ability in the world, but he also had that strut about the park, that sort of a gallus approach, that he was better than everybody else, and he actually believed it as well, and that's why they set the standards, and everybody else around about him had to live up to it. And that's the way he was, but as you're right, and you're saying away from it, he was just a normal guy like everybody else, but as soon as the football started, he was a winner. And that's what you liked about him.
Barry Hart says, can you give a shout out to all his boys in Baku? He's been a member there and he's leaving after 17 fantastic years. I don't think we've had Baku, Roughie. I think that's a new one for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know where Baku is. Where is it?
Yep, it's just left at the lights at Irvine, just at the cross there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He thought it was a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, to be honest with you, Tam, it could be a restaurant. You never know in this place. I try and give as many people a mention as is absolutely possible across YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook too. And let's not forget, on Facebook you can like, share and follow us, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. Yep, free. And I can just tell you right now, our producer has just whispered in my ear, Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan.
Yep.
Now, there are a few people, Tam, that to be perfectly honest with you, are real swats in my class, and they would have known that. But my producer, who apparently attended a really good school, said it in my ear in a kind of that kind of a condescending voice, as if I can't believe you don't know Baku. So anyway, I don't think we've had Azerbaijan. Hi to Gary McGurn. Hi to Brian Derby. Hugh Hepburn Duff always comes on. He says Baku's just next to Ardrossan. So there you are. There's lots of people who probably don't know where it is. Anyway, apart from anything else, it'll be interesting to see this weekend. I am personally looking forward to, I don't know about you, Tam, but after watching two terrible games. I'm really looking forward to the return of the Premiership. Are you?
Oh, I can't wait. I said that during the week. The international football's rubbish. I mean, I watched the England game last night as well. I don't know if you've watched it. Just garbage. There's no, there's no tempo to the game. It's just, I just don't like it at all. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, the bread and butter is a Scottish game, and a lot of people talk it down, particularly down south. But I love our game up here. Whatever it lacks in quality, you know, you make up for it in kind of blood and snotters. You know, it's exciting to watch. Teams will go out to win. You know, they go out to win every week. And now I'm looking forward to the games coming back, and I think we'll have a great season this season, obviously at the top end and at the bottom end, and you've got teams like Hibs have started well as well. So exciting season, Peter, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. Oh, every game on Saturday as well, I believe, which is probably a first.
It is. It's unusual. And the other thing I was going to say, and before I forget, which you just reminded me there, Tam, the good news is if you see our posters, we've got our brand new adverts going up all around Glasgow and Edinburgh. We'll start to go to Dundee and Aberdeen as well, but the posters are up. I don't know about you, Roughie, you know, people are walking by them, getting their photographs taken in Sucky Hall Street, Osborne Street, through there in Edinburgh as well, at Northbridge. You know, they're brilliant. I mean, I'm really delighted with them. And we're all going to be heading out on Saturday and Sunday, Roughie, to get our photographs taken by the posters and for a commercial. Although I think the bookies are now saying possibly 9-1 that you make it to Edinburgh at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. I have my doubts, Roughie.
I'll give you 50s.
Because, well, to be fair, if he doesn't make it, it's going to be known as the Football Show on Monday. It's as simple as that. You're at 9-1, Roughie.
No, well, I was in Glasgow this morning and I saw a couple of posters, and I think it was Glassford Street this morning. They looked very good, yeah, and there was guys taking photographs beside them. Obviously, the players, everybody's at their own favourite. I think it was Messi. It was on Glassford Street, but no, I think it'll catch on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure I will make Edinburgh.
Well, I'll tell you why you might make. I'll tell you why you might make it, of course, because we've invited, and if you get a chance, you know, we've invited quite a few people who are part of a family to come along, as well as the punters, Tam. So that's the good news. So I can tell you, I'm just saying, just for your own benefit here, Tam, Amy and Lucy are part of a family, and they are coming with their family on Edinburgh at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. That's all I'm saying to you. So, you know, there's a lot of people coming along. Look at wee Tam licking his lips there, wondering, now, should I change to the Sunday?
There's no way I'm going to Edinburgh at 8 o'clock. No chance. I'll just forget it at that time.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll be in Edinburgh, and the amount of people actually, when we were putting them up the other day there in Edinburgh, the amount of people and friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, and it was just great. They were up looking at the posters, joining in. Messi, Zidane, Pirlo. Who else have we got there, Roughie? Have I forgotten? Johan Cruyff is there too. So there's a lot of them. And next week we'll be giving you prizes. Simple as that. On the posters at the moment, there's a little QR code, and if you scan it, you get a special deal from Arnold Clark. Simple as that. So if you think you're buying a car, scan the code and you get a special deal. But next week, if you get your photograph taken next to the posters and send them in, we'll be giving you details on Monday. We'll be sending you out 100 lucky winners will get a T-shirt, possibly something even better than a T-shirt. Certainly some posters as well. So it's well worth it, Darren, isn't it? I mean, it's well worth getting your photograph taken with your mate, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever.
Definitely, yes. And you're turning up, and Tam's turning up, and obviously Roughie. So you get your photos taken with another few legends. So
yeah. Darren, honestly, it's just
such a good guy, isn't he?
He's just such a good guy.
I'm just wondering, Peter, is there no a poster that, have you not got a goalkeeper, no? A Dino Zoff or someone?
To be fair, Darren, you can't put goalkeepers in. They're not really footballers, are they?
No, goalkeepers don't get rated in this show.
No. They can't have a goalkeeper.
You get in the top 50.
No, but we've not had one on the rate,
so Tony Holton has said his... Yeah, 3 World Cups, absolutely.
Oh,
Tony
but
Hawkins
how's he
says,
not going to...
"What?
You're not
Who?
coming on Sunday?
Who?
I'm going on
I'm
Saturday.
not appearing on Sunday. All right.
I'm Saturday.
What, 8 o'clock?
He's
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning. We will be out there if you are about. We'll be out there. We'll be in Stucky Hall Street at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting our photograph and doing the commercial for the show. So if you're around at 8 o'clock, come and join us. We'd love to get a photograph with you. And if you are around there in Osborne Street, just down from the big mural of Billy Connolly, we'll be there as well because we've got all the posters there too, lads. We'll be getting our photographs there, and also in Edinburgh, we will be there at North Bridge. It's right across the bridge, which is fantastic. And there's a few other fantastic venues in Edinburgh. I'll be taking a trip down memory lane, Darren. That's all I can say to you. Just a few of the flats that Darren and I stayed in. You know, those late night parties. That's all I'm saying to you. We're going to have a look at some of the places
my
we used
Wi-Fi
to
not
own.
cutting off the now, no.
Yeah. Shut them up, whatever you do. Anyway, we'll be going to some of our old haunts in Edinburgh as well, Darren. You'll enjoy it. It'll be a trip down memory lane for us. And I'll tell you, the T-shirts. Tam's got the Diego Maradona T-shirt on. We'll be giving away T-shirts like that, Pele, Cruyff, the lot. So there you are. Apart from that, thank you to all the messages coming in. Patrick McManus says the posters look great or would look great on T-shirts. Well, we're getting them. And Alison Sarah Carroll says it's far too early in the morning for me, Peter. I won't make it. So, Alison, it's a blow, to be honest with you. We will be looking right in rain. Roughie is on a night out the night before, and someone is driving him through, so he will have a face like he's been dragged through a hedge backwards. But John Donald says, Peter, any chance you could put up a poster in Birmingham? Wouldn't that be magnificent? Have any of you guys been out a night out in Birmingham?
No.
Yeah. Brilliant. Great night out.
I was just about to say to you.
I went down last year to watch Aston Villa. Aston Villa against Norwich. John McGinn sorted the tickets and that out, and had a wee weekend down in Birmingham. Brilliant. Great city. A great night out. So
yeah,
I've got
absolutely.
posters in there.
Peter,
yeah.
You need to get the posters in Newcastle. Now, then we could all go.
Now, believe me, that is a plan because Newcastle's a night and a half out. And look at Roughie, look at just a wee smirk in Roughie's face here, he knows. So I would say to you right now, there was one there from Stevie Tops who says Newcastle is more a party city than Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I think Darren Jackson agrees with you on that one. Listen, talking about players that could be coming into our game, it looked as if yet again that Hibs were going to try and get Scott Fraser, but it just missed out. He's joined the MK Dons, Tam.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to get him, to be honest. I think he's been an ever-present for Burton the last 2 seasons, and he's got a great record in terms of goals and assists. He's 25 years old, and he'd knocked back a new contract, so he's obviously looking for a bigger club or a better move, more money, and Hibs would obviously have offered him a chance to come back up the road to a big club in Scotland, but I think in terms of finance, you've got to be trying to stay in League One or the Championship. And MK Dons, obviously, as we know, have got a few quid. They're very well backed by their owner, and he's obviously decided to stay down in England, but would have been a fantastic signing for Hibs. I don't know if Darren worked with him at Dundee United, but for me, he's a really talented player.
Yeah, Scotty. I mean, they reckon at the time he could have been better than wee Goldie, but he broke his leg early on and all that. But incredible talent, great in the ball, not the most aggressive. But once you're down there, I mean, the MK Dons Stadium, Peter's a magnificent stadium, like it is Easter Road. But he's obviously down there. He's enjoying being down there, and I would imagine the money's probably a little bit better than Hibs. So, but good boy, great boy, but talented player.
Yeah, I know everything's about money nowadays, to be honest with you, Ruffy, but if I had the choice and it was MK Dons or the Hibbies, I'd sign for the Hibbies.
Yeah, but that's what Darren's saying there. It's a personal choice. It's what you want to play football for. Do you want to play football at a big club? I think Hibs are a big club. It's a great stadium, great fans when they're doing well. So, but you're right. Unfortunately, it does boil down to money 9 times out of 10. I hate to stop watching that Spurs programme because it's getting ridiculous. You know, some of the money that they're talking about and that is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And but no, you have to make a decision in your career. But I'm like you, Hibs, when they're doing well, is a wonderful stadium and it's a wonderful place to be. But I don't know anything about MK Dons, so boys have got an advantage on me there.
Yeah, absolutely. Still saying for Hibs. And I have to say, you know, lots of people just mentioning to us there about that Hibs situation, which is quite simply, Stephen McManus says Hibs and Hearts are both miles bigger than MK Dons.
Agree, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with them as well. But yeah,
there's no any doubt about that, Peter. But see when you're talking the big end of the market, and you're getting 70 or 80 grand a week, £10,000 a difference. But when you're the bottom end and you're maybe offered, and people will still say if you're offered 2 and you're offered 3, it makes a big difference to your life. Do you know what I mean? So that's you have to take that into account. If you ask Scott Fraser, and obviously he wouldn't say it in front of the MK Dons fans, who's bigger, Hibs or Hearts or MK Dons? There is absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, there's a few in Scotland that are much bigger than the MK Dons. What they've got a magnificent stadium, and obviously they've got the Scottish boy, the centre half, who was at Norwich, is the manager. So Russell Martin. So he'll know about Scotty, but I don't think there's any doubt who's bigger than. They're miles bigger than MK Dons, the 2 Edinburgh clubs.
Let's get down to the press conference and annoy him and ask him the question anyway. Niall Kane says, Peter, what's your take on Alan Campbell's goal last night for the under-21s? Can you see him stepping up to the senior squad? Well, I don't know about you guys. I watched it last night. What a goal it was, Tam, from Alan Campbell. An absolute peach.
Yep, great goal. Watched Scotland. I was pretty impressed with them, solid at the back. And I think Alan Campbell, listen, he's not underrated inside Motherwell. I think the fans there love him, and the manager and the rest of the players love him. But I just think outside it, he's never really been linked to any clubs. I don't know, why that is. I think he's a terrific player, young player. He's, I really liked him when he played Hibs in the season. I think it was 0-0, and I'd seen him live. And I was watching the game, and I came out after it, and I thought Alan Campbell was superb there. And I think he's a tremendous player. He's out of contract at the end of the season. So I think he'll move on, and I think he'll go to a bigger club. I think he'll go to a club down south, maybe probably English Championship. But good player and great result for Scotland.
Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on this. This has implications up here in Scotland. I wonder if, excuse me, if you knew any player who was like this. I've got one player in mind that I think is like this. But Roughie, excuse me, you alluded to the All or Nothing, the Tottenham Hotspur documentary that's on at the moment on, I think it's Prime Video. I have to say, Roughie, last night I watched one of the episodes where Danny Rose was talking to Mourinho, and I thought to myself, now, Danny, with all due respect to you, if you'd said that up in Scotland, you'd be just going in to check how many teeth you'd left, because he was really... but you want to tell you something? He was really gobby, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think the gobbiness get fun out a couple of days later when he was walking out the door to Newcastle. Mourinho might not have said it in that room in front of the cameras, but as soon as he started, he was out of there. And you get people like that. I mean, I keep saying that. I mean, there was lots of people. Frank McDougall was like that up in Aberdeen. If he wasn't playing, he was batting Alec Ferguson's door down every second day. And you get players like that at team. Stevie Cowan's another one. Stevie wasn't happy, he'd go in and he would tell you what he actually thought of you. But there's players like that in the game. But I think when the cameras were there, I think they had to play it down a wee bit. But you're right, fair dues to him. He was an England player as well, was he not? At some stage.
Lots of caps.
It's hard to get your head around that. That when you're not getting a game, and some people just sit and accept it, and he didn't. But it didn't work for him.
Yeah, absolutely. The one player that I've got in my mind was, and Darren will laugh at this one, but he played for Celtic, and I interviewed him one day for Scottish television, and I sat next to him in the dugout, and I thought, wow, if you were chocolate, by the way, Isle Berkovic.
Well, I didn't play with them, Peter, but I think everybody knew that's what the way it was. There is players like that who just, I should be playing. I mean, and it's hard in the Premiership when you've got a squaddy 25 to play every week. But it was when Bournemouth and Newcastle were mentioned, and he stated Daniel Levy. And what about Milan? And Levy just went. Their expectations and where they think they should be. He's a good player. He's done well for Newcastle. He's done well for. But I think Roughie's right. The cameras that were there. I don't think Mourinho would have. I think he would have said more if the cameras hadn't been there. But it's something that I would have probably knocked Jim McLean's door down and said to him. I think he would have accepted that.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have been. I think by the second. I think by the second punch, Darren. Hopefully, they'd have got a paramedic for you. Sam, was there anybody in your team that was gobby and thought, "I'm not having any of this"?
Probably me, to be honest. No, I can remember going in and I remember chatting Jim Duffy's door. Oh, and you know what Jim Duffy's like? Jim Duff, I think I had been playing or something, and I came in and about 2 minutes later I came out and I thought, I'm never going back to chat by his door again. I thought he was going to kill me as soon as I said the first sentence. But there is always, when you're not playing and people say, go in and chat the manager's door. I always thought it was very difficult to get in and chat the manager's door. To get in and say, why am I not playing? I never really had the bottle for it. And you see somebody like Danny Rose going in and doing it, and he's very, very gobby, very confident. Maybe that's just a new breed of a footballer who expect to play every week. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yep, I'll tell you. You talk about good on you with Jim Duffy. I remember interviewing Jim when he had a wee altercation with Neil Lennon, and some daft reporter at the back said, was there any chance of it coming to fisticuffs? And he just kind of looked at the reporter as if to say, there's only one winner here between me and
definitely.
Lennon. If I hit him, he'll know all about it, And I'm sure Neil Lennon at the time thought, I hope he doesn't go for it. I'm in big trouble here. And of course, a good line there from Gary McGurney says, that's why Big John Hartson gave him a kick, Peter. Of course, Berkovic and John Hartson had a wee set too as well. Hey, it's all about the joy of football and talking about these things. That's what we do. We love the football on here, love talking about Scottish football, love the fact that we're back at the weekend for the football. We'll have the predictor as well. Tam racing out at the moment like a thoroughbred racehorse out in front in the head-to-head. But all I will say to you guys is if you get a chance, watch the rerun of the 1977 Grand National when Red Rum eventually just reels them all in and then goes past them round about March
I've never
April,
had stamina,
I think,
Peter. I was always a good 60-65 minute player and I'd get the hook, so I'm not feeling too confident.
That was the stamina.
Yeah,
probably wasn't it?
As soon as you heard the old wooden sub, that was you. You knew you were off ski. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Ryan Fraser signed for Newcastle United, 5-year contract, and I think he was fairly defensive and certainly wasn't having any of the criticism that was coming his way. Why he didn't obviously re-sign at Bournemouth?
It was never the way I wanted it to end, and I'm not going to sit here and say it didn't bother me. I was gutted. I'm honest, and if this virus didn't hit, I would have played every game. But I was out of contract. I know some lads signed an extension, that was up to them, but I just didn't feel like at my age, where I wanted to go in my career, I just didn't feel like it was right for me to sign it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dan, he got it in the neck, didn't he? The Bournemouth fans just were not having him not playing anymore.
Yeah, it was a Scotsman. I got a lot to live up to at Newcastle. But it's a hard one. When a player is going out of contract, you do say he's worried about injuries, but I just think the position Bournemouth were in, what Bournemouth had done for him, you could have had a contract saying that, I know they offered him a very, very good contract, and you could have said, well, if I get injured, you need to honour that contract. And I know he didn't want to be there, but that's your protection. I just think, just be honourable and it's hard. Listen, you've got to be in that position that you've got your future ahead of you. I'm worried about getting injured, but I do feel that I would have signed for Bournemouth and played the last few games.
Yeah, absolutely. Roughie, Ryan Fraser is someone I think we've got to have back in that Scotland squad available for big games.
Yeah, he's the kind of player you see him doing some wonderful things, and a Scotland jersey as well. And then sometimes you see him and it's not the same person. Maybe that's been the problem. Maybe he needs to go somewhere and really enjoy his football, and we'll really see the potential that he's got, because he's certainly got something. And any times he's played with Scotland, he's been very, very impressive. And again, it's that side of the park where we've got Robertson and Tavernier. So again, you'd have to fit him in somewhere. But he certainly is a quality player compared to what we've got.
Yeah, I think we need everybody, Tam. I mean, I just think we need, everybody who's available, who's top drawer, get them in there, give Steve Clarke the best ammunition for this big game against Israel. I mean, Mark McGee was very positive in the whole thing the other day there, Tam. He thinks the game will be dead and buried by half time and we'll have overcome Israel. I'm not so sure.
No, I'm definitely not so sure either. And come back to Ryan Fraser, I think not last season, but the season before, he was absolutely flying for Bournemouth. Assists, scoring goals. He was one of the top wingers in the English Premiership, and he was getting seriously linked to Liverpool and Arsenal. But I just think this season he's a wee bit of injury to start the season, and he went off the boil. And no disrespect for Newcastle, he still signed for a good club, but he was getting linked to the real top clubs on a free. So I think if he's fit, Peter, and he's playing every week for Newcastle, he'll be in the Scotland team. I like him. I think he's a good player. Playing the left of a three up front, cut inside, quick, and hopefully he gets back playing with Newcastle, and because we need him. We need him in the Scotland team for a bit of supply, bit of service into Lyndon Dykes and maybe McBurney, people like that. So I hope Fraser gets in as a big success at Newcastle.
Yeah, and talking off Gobby, I hope Lyndon Dykes continues his, shall I say, his Australian attitude to it all. I liked his after-match press conference after the Israel match. This is not good enough. We need to be better. I don't know about. I love Aussie attitude to things. Sport in general. They don't suffer fools gladly, and there's a wee bit of arrogance about the way he was talking. I thought, we need more like that. We need to be strutting our stuff, and some players take responsibility. At the weekend, guys, I'm just looking here, Tam. It's St Mirren against Hibs. So your Saturday is fairly free then, or will you be still doing Hibs TV, no?
Yeah, I'll be covering the game for Hibs TV. I'll bet the game. Looking forward to it. I think, Hibs have got off to a great start this season. I think scoring goals and being creative in the final third has been a problem. But they've been very, very solid at the back. Still to concede a goal from open play in 6 games is a tremendous defensive record. And but they have to be more creative going forward. And I think that's maybe why they'll be having a wee sniff at Fraser. He's in that type of Scott Allen area. Scott Allen's been off the boil, to be honest. And we're looking for something in that final third to give you something extra. Jamie Murphy's come in. He's had 2 weeks to get up to speed, Peter, and hopefully he's done a lot of fitness work, and he might be ready to start on Saturday, because they're just missing that wee spark. I think that's what's missing from Hibs. Everything else looks good. They're solid, well organised, and if they can start scoring more goals, they'll be a big threat for third place.
Yeah, I like Jamie Murphy. I hope he does really well there for Hibs as well. I see that the tie there, Ross County against Celtic, will have 300 fans, Roughie. They won't be able to stand up and shout. There'll be no singing. I wonder, Roughie, I think of Ross County Celtic, Roughie, and I think of that 3.5 hour journey you, me and Gordon Smith had in the car, and I thought to myself, we'll never get that back, those 3.5 hours of that journey. I don't know if you remember that. there was a point where I thought driving off this cliff looks appealing. It was a long drive, Roughie. That's all I'm saying to you. But nevertheless, Johnny Fox is got to be one of the best nights out, Roughie, up there in Inverness. It's good up there for that. As long as you go for 2 days. You can't go up to Ross County and travel back the same day. It's just not on.
Yeah, I honestly have to take your word for that. It's not a place I frequented at all, even my playing days. So no, I've heard all the stories about it, but I'll have to take your word for that one.
Yep, I'm going to go to Motherwell St Johnstone and see how the well are doing, see if they can stop the rot, to be perfectly honest with you. Livingston Hamilton Academicals at the bottom end, Darren, is an absolute cracker.
It's a cracker.
I'm told there's a press release coming from Prestwick Airport and Glasgow Airport. They're allowing the ball to have a flight path, and it will have a code on it so that you can... So that you see it going all the time. That'll be great. Fantastic, Dan. What a game. I wish I had a ticket.
I know, but listen, Peter, it is early on. Obviously, I'm a big Brian Rice. I'm a big Brian Rice fan, and I played for Livingston, but I'm a big Brian Rice fan as a coach. Wonderful coach, and he's finding it hard to get players in. And it will be a hard one, but they're playing on Astro. It easily could go either way. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to cover that? Would you like to cover that game for us, Dan? Would you like to cover? I mean, I can send you there.
I'll go. Yeah, no bother.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have more grey hair than you've got now. Let me tell you. I'm at the end of the day. Listen, I know Livingston Hamilton fans will absolutely cane me for it, but at least Hamilton and Livingston are capable of playing good football. But it's going to be a hard watch, I have to say. It'll be blood, guts, and thunder in that one. And of course, Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. Will we have the 300 fans in? Only time will tell. 2 quick points. Tam, Ronaldo. Have a look at these stats we're put together for his 100th and his 101st goal.
Cristiano Ronaldo has become the first European player to break the 100 international goal barrier and is now just 8 goals shy of Ali Day's world record. It started when a 19-year-old Ronaldo scored his first Portugal goal at Euro 2004 as the hosts lost the final to Greece. Over the next 16 years, he scored against 42 countries in all forms of competitions, notching 9 hat-tricks along the way. His goals fired his country to Euro 2016 and the inaugural Nations League, the only 2 trophies in Portuguese history. Ronaldo has bagged 21 goals at major tournaments. He's the top scorer in European Championship history, and who could forget his stunning hat-trick against Spain at the 2018 World Cup. He's not dwindled with age, scoring 22 in his last 18 appearances, and he took his tally to 101 with a stunning brace against Sweden on Tuesday. It's now not a question of if Cristiano Ronaldo will break the record, but when.
Yeah, magnificent, Roughie. I mean, I think he's the perfect example to any professional footballer. If you want to be a top player, you have to consistently produce, but you have to work at it off the park as well, and he does.
Yeah, he certainly does. We hear all the stories about his lifestyle and everything. You don't regularly see him in any gossip anywhere at all. But I think basically, that's the only difference between, for me, and him and Messi is Ronaldo actually wins tournaments. He wins tournaments in an average Portuguese side. He wins games by himself at big tournaments, and that's just something that Messi hasn't done. So that's the only plus mark I would give Ronaldo over Messi, what he does at the big time.
So you think Ronaldo is the best player in the world then?
No, I don't.
You've just built him up with the stats that he wins tournaments.
Yes, that's when you listen to what I said there. That's the only difference there is between the two of them. But I still have Messi. I'd rather watch Messi than watch Ronaldo.
Yeah, who's the better player, Roughie?
Messi for me.
Yeah, Darren.
Yeah, I've always been the Messi fan, Peter. But he's spoke about stats yesterday, and these stats add up. It's absolutely mind blowing. But do you know what it is? It's desire to be the best every single day, in training and games for a period of what we're looking at, 15, 16 years. Yep. And not just 4 or 5, 15 or 16 years. His stats are beyond belief. And I told you one yesterday, which he slaughtered me for being boring. But I told you one yesterday, which is incredible. But that one is just mind blowing. 101 goals for your country.
Yeah. What was the stat again? Just remind us so Tam can actually savour the excitement that we did.
Move on.
Okay. Anyway, Dylan Semple says Robert Lewandowski is the best at the moment, and he's deserved the Ballon d'Or. Dylan, I mean, he's just been absolutely magnificent, and over and above that, Stephen Patrick McNamara says Lewandowski, the best in the world at the moment as well. So he agrees with you. Listen, great to savour them all, but I do feel in the next, I don't know, I can't work out when Ronaldo's going to finish. He could easily play till he's 40. Will Messi be able to play till he's 40, Tam? But all I would say to you is, I don't see the next one coming through. I mean, we were lucky. Roughie's lucky as well. In the 60s, you had so many great players who were world stars. You had Eusebio, you had Pele, who were world stars. And then in the 70s, you had Johan Cruyff, you had Franz Beckenbauer. And then in the 80s, you started to look, you had Platini coming through, who was a world superstar. So there's always been a world's greatest player. But I feel when these two go, I think we're in for maybe a little 10-year period where somebody's going to struggle to reach their stats.
I think possibly Mbappe's the one that maybe people are looking at just now. He's obviously playing a great PSG team and a good France team. I think he's probably one you would pin your hat on to be the next, real world superstar to come through. But I think Ronaldo can play as long as he wants. He's, as Jacko said there, he wants to be the best. He's lives his lifestyle off the park is phenomenal. You can see his build, his physique. He's not got an ounce of fat on him, so he can play to as long as he wants. And I actually think, and I fancy Portugal to win the Euros next year. I think he'll win it again. I think 16-1. I looked at last night. I looked at some of the guys they've got in their team: Bruno Fernandes, João Felix. They've got some real quality coming through Portugal as well. And I think he'll go out with a bang with Portugal next season and win the Euros again.
Well, I have to tell you, by the way, that's when you know somebody is serious about their gambling, Roughie, when he's now looking at the odds for the Euros now and knows they're 16-1. I mean, that's somebody who's looking really far.
Peter, England are 5-1. I mean, that is the worst price I've ever seen. I mean, Portugal are nearly treble the odds. Mental.
I know. But England will not win the Euros. They're not good enough. They don't even have a golden generation. I mean, listen, you can hype it all you want. That is not a team that's capable of winning anything. Alex Kelly says Mbappe will be the best in the world soon. Alec, who am I to argue with you? You're a regular on our show.
Peter, obviously Mbappe, definitely. But the young boy's just scored for France. Spain at 17. It plays with Barcelona. Is it Fatsu?
He could be an emerging talent.
Yes, 17 for his country and scored at the weekend. He looks special.
Yeah. Just before we go, guys, I must admit, if you're talking about players that other players look up to and genuinely have not a bad word about him on the field or off the field, the amount of players who've said well done, and I noticed that Jordan Henderson on his Twitter said well done to Kevin De Bruyne, a top lad off the field and well deserving of winning the PFA Player of the Year award for his on-the-field performances. Roughie, that tells you all you need to know about De Bruyne. You don't hear about any misdemeanours from that lad. He's just a joy to watch and obviously a gentleman off the park as well.
Yeah, and I think if any teams we picked this year, he was the one. I think everybody picked him. I think you just have to watch him on the park, the way he gets involved. He brings other players in, and he scored some absolutely spectacular goals. For me, he is a joy to watch. And if he was a striker, I think we'd be talking about him more.
Yeah, Trent Alexander wins the young player, Tam. That's good going. He's had a good season. Great assists.
Yeah, brilliant, great player. And it's just a modern day fullback. Gets forward, gets crosses in the box, scores goals. Great engine and good on the ball. Terrific player. And him and Andy Robertson, you're not getting two better fullbacks in world football in the same team, and he thoroughly deserves it as well. Yeah,
George Penman has just mentioned something, in George, I may well, George, actually have to be in your camp on this one. And it's not good news for Scotland. Just before we go, George Penman has said Haaland is the next superstar. And who am I to argue with George on this one, Roughie? Because the two goals he scored the other night there
Big McKenna will snuff him.
Big McKenna would need to jump on him in the tunnel to stop him because this guy Roughie looks sensational.
The first goal that he scored, I could hear people shouting him, "Oh, take a touch before you hit that." No, unbelievable. Darren will know more than the technique to have the quickness of thought. That's where that ball's going is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. To be fair though, Ruffy, the people who were saying take a touch were all the Scottish SFA coaches who were more worried about him getting the ball under control first rather than taking the first touch to put it in the back of the net. You're the problem at the moment, McManus. How about letting them play it first and quick? I hope you're teaching the youngsters at Braidhurst that.
I am. I'm trying to get them to play off the cuff. No coaching for me. Just let them go and play.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last part here is the PFA in England, the Merit Award, Darren. They handed it to Marcus Rashford, and there is no footballer more deserving of everybody's, adulation, respect. He has my respect in abundance.
Yes, without doubt, Peter. It's easy for players nowadays just to get caught up in their own wee bubble, earning £120,000 a week and thinking, well, I'm fine, my family's fine, but it was incredible what he did. And he wasn't holding back. They said no to begin with, and he was just forced it through, and fair credit to him. And I'm sure an honour will come, when the New Year's honour list comes out, I'm sure there'll be something there for him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And George Jaffrey, to finish, says the only person we would need to mark Haaland is Terry Hurlock. There's a name from the past. a man who never worried about his first touch because that was usually to take out the player he was playing against, Roughie.
I played against him. Obviously, I played against him for Rangers, but I played against him at the old Millwall ground. God Almighty! Wow, terrifying! Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. He was one of those players in that no-nonsense brigade whose job was to nullify the opponent. I think, is that the best way to sum it up, Ruffy?
Yeah, I would think so. I think John Gagan sums up Gregor Stevens. He was another one, who did take a prisoner.
Yeah. And Willie McGee was another one.
Willie McGee.
Willie McGee was absolutely. Anyway, apart from that, hard men who knew how to play the game. I'm not sure they would survive too long in the modern day, but nevertheless, it's all about football. We love it. Thank you to all the thoroughly decent people who are following us. The football family is growing bigger and bigger day by day. The people watching the programme, we are the biggest show in Scotland on a Monday to Friday from 4 o'clock every day on YouTube and on Facebook. And we are absolutely delighted that you take the time out to join us. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the red button, subscribe, and it's absolutely free. You won't be charged for anything. And on Facebook, like, share, and follow our page, and you'll get all the latest news. If you download the app, you'll get it all on your fingertips. You can watch it on your phone. It's as simple as that. And if you are about early on a Saturday and a Sunday morning, we'll be out there. We'll have our hairbrush. We'll have our
bring us a cup of tea.
And we'll also, and I've got our new. I'm just saying to you, Tam, I've got our new PLZ training tops for you to wear and put on you, Darren and Roughie as well.
Have we taken them home, or have we got to give them back?
You can take them home. It's as simple as that. All I'm going to say to you is I've taken a leaf out of Bill Shankly's book, Roughie, and the training tops are to die for. They're going to fly. Everybody's going to want one. And I can't wait to see Darren and Tam in it because they have got that physique where they'll look good in it. And you and I we'll just have ours on, Roughie, doing the best we possibly can. It's as simple as that.
PLZ face coverings, Peter, no?
I do have PLZ face masks. I'll bring one along for you, Darren, just to avoid any hassle from people who are walking about in Glasgow and recognise you, and just in case it all kicks off. Would you believe it? My mate who I go to school with has just posted a message. Any chance of one for me as well? Yes, there is, Jim. If you turn up on Saturday morning when we're in Sucky Hall Street. Anyway, join us on the programme tomorrow. On Thursday, we'll have Tam Cowan and Stevie Naismith. And Stevie's a team player because, would you believe it, Roughie? Stevie said, I will be there, 8 o'clock in the morning. That's the kind of commitment we want. Naismith, no Billy Big Time with Stevie Naismith. He'll be in his Ford Fiesta and driving there while we get a photograph. And all I'm going to say to you guys is, if you see the posters, don't forget to scan it and you can get your special deal from Arnold Clark. And next week, if you take your photograph next to the poster, we could be sending you a prize. From Darren Jackson, Tam McManus, Roughie and myself, thank you for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit